We're dancing the whole time. The whole countdown. We're just dancing like idiots.
Oh, it's the best though.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Not Wasting Time. Not Wasting Time. And today's discussion, we're going to be talking about time.
Travel.
Well, I guess we'll see if we got any notifications that come out.
Timed.
I didn't get one yet.
I haven't gotten one yet either. But yeah.
Did you get the half-hour notice?
I did get the half-hour
All
notice.
right.
See, I didn't.
Really?
Yeah.
That's annoying.
YouTube's driving me crazy today.
YouTube's been going crazy with their notifications not going out, though, because the one day when Monarch was live for like 5 hours during the day, Matt never got his notification, and he was very disappointed.
I'm going to share myself out.
Figures.
Okay.
Yep. I'm gonna share too.
Yeah, Matt was very
Sharing.
disappointed that the notification never went out for Monarch because he loves watching them.
Yeah.
So
That's
today
again.
we're going to talk about time travel.
Hi, Francisco.
It's in my contract.
Do it.
So
Hello, Francisco. That's fun to say, Francisco. All right, so a little housekeeping. Thank you to the Live Place. Dean from the Live Place. You want to find a family-friendly streamer? Go to theliveplace.com and check out the Live Place. Hello, Angela. Welcome in.
Ange.
So,
Garrett, what's up?
yes, welcome in, everybody. And Garrett, welcome in. Today we're going to talk about time travel and stories, movies, and TV shows. So I expanded this a little bit.
I just got my notification.
And
What's up,
Me
Glenn?
what's up, Glenn? Desert Dream said, that's Angela or Jeff. I'm not sure. I think it might be Angela because I think Jeff is still kind of in the middle unless he stopped. Do you really want to talk about time travel? Yes. Yes, I do.
It's actually, he prepared. Like, he is, like, very well prepared. Like, he typed stuff up. He researched. I think this is going to be a good stream. As long as we don't talk about Avengers time travel for too long, I'll be fine.
It's on the list.
You are not allowed to talk about it over 5 minutes.
It's on the list.
I'm timing it when you talk about it. There are so many other things on there. X-Men.
All right.
X-Men's going to be great talking
So,
about.
as far as the
Catherine,
chat,
what's up?
let's welcome into chat. Francisco, I said hi. Cherie, welcome in. Either Jeff or Angela. I'm hoping either one or the both. I think there's emojis, so it must be Angela. And then Amy, AJC Magic, welcome in. Narrow Valley Glenn, what's up? Tim Pruitt, hello. Garrett from Monarch Moments is there. And Angela said time travel makes her head hurt.
It's stressful. Amy! Tracy, remember when Loki Talk comes?
And
Well,
to segue in, Loki is about time travel.
It is. I am so excited.
Really?
I will talk more. I can go on my rants about Loki when we talk about the Loki show itself, like, on its own stream. I wouldn't do that on this, because we're not just talking about Loki.
Oh.
We're talking about a bunch of different things.
So, in my research, and yes, people, I did research.
Hi, Tim Pruitt.
I came across a good quote. I don't know exactly, I couldn't find the author, but it's probably out there. So, the past and the future do not exist. They are only concepts used to describe the real, isolated, and changing present.
Ooh.
When I got home, he was like, I love this quote. Like, he was, like, so excited about it. I think it's a great quote, because if you really think about it, if those things actively, physically existed, we'd be able to go to them. If the past physically existed, still, we'd be able to go to it. It's just a memory. It's just a memory of the previous present.
So, Tim Pro, anyone besides me shocked that Lauren Kenzie is excited about Loki? Yeah. But the thing is so the theory of relativity, Einstein, time and space, there's concepts in it. And there's one movie that I really liked about time and space, and we're going to get to that. Huh?
No. Go. Talk.
All right. I want to start off with stories about time. I went in and researched. I said earliest stories that deal with time.
Like, what's the first story that exists that deals with someone traveling in and out of time, going to a different time,
or something to that? So I came across a story written in 1733. What are you chuckling for?
Russ's comment.
Tracy, what is the
What
meaning
is
of
the
life?
meaning of life?
42. I hope everybody got that one.
I did.
No.
Anybody know what that's from?
No.
Type that
I'll
quote
quote
down.
it. I'll type it. Talk. I'll type.
So, Memoirs of the 20th Century. It's by Samuel Madden in 1733. So that's one of the earliest things.
Interesting.
So then the next story that came up was 1771, Memoirs of the 2500. And that was from Louis Sebastian Mercer. And there's in 1781, Anno 17. I really didn't do a lot of searching on what this was, but one that I know of pretty well is Rip Van Winkle, and that was in 1819. That was written by Washington Irving, and I know that one won because it's supposed to have happened in the Catskill Mountains, and
We live
in the Catskill Mountain area.
literally right there.
In fact,
So-
we have a bridge right
that
by
you
us.
can see Rip Van Winkle on the thing.
Well, we have a bridge,
Yeah.
and our closest bridge is the Rip Van Winkle Bridge. So I thought that was interesting.
Scammers
cool.
keep calling me.
Can I go back in time and eliminate myself, but still exist, or do I fade away like Back to the Future? We're gonna get to some of that stuff. Rip Van Shep,
There's a new version, I believe.
right?
Hi, Jane Travels.
Well, see, the Rip Van Winkle does deal with time travel, not time travel, but because he falls asleep for 20 years. But then again, he ages, but it's not.
It's
It's
weird.
somewhat of a time travel story.
If you think
Interesting.
about it, Captain America. Basically
Correct.
time travel. He slept for way longer than he should have been alive.
Mhm.
So the next book I came
Hey,
across.
Chris.
What up, Chris Dad Builds? So, another book that was deal with time travel, written in 1843, we actually covered in a book club. Tina's now thinking, what book written in 1843 did we cover in book club? Welcome in, Kay Watward. Have you thought about it?
Well, we haven't covered that many books, so
That is correct.
Mhm.
it's
Are we
gotta
doing
be.
top 10?
No, we're going
gonna
over,
get there.
We're going over like
Oh, okay.
overall like things that have to do with time travel.
Okay.
Do you want me to tell you?
Yeah, please do, because my mind is.
A Christmas Carol.
Oh, I totally forgot we did that.
So,
Oh, that's bad. Oh.
Yeah, he goes to the past
and he goes
and
to
to the future.
And
Yeah.
there's the whole. He went back and spent a day in the past. He spent a day in the future, but he all did it in one night. So it's not just time travel, but time. I mean, granted, it's not time travel as far as he's interacting with the past and he's not interacting
But
with
he's
the
still
future.
visually seeing the past.
Right.
Hmm.
Welcome in, Sophie B. So There's a couple other ones in here. The Tag of the Ragged Mountains, what came up, and it was 1844. That was written by Edgar Allan Poe. And I think this has to deal with a lot of like time and time travel. And then there's one written by Mark Twain. It's called The Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court. That was written in
Mike 88, what's up?
Like
1889. Yes,
The Oprah movie. That was A Wrinkle
A
in
Wrinkle
Time.
in Time. Yes,
I never watched it.
That was an earlier book, but I kind of stopped when I got into the one book that kind of popularized time travel. That's where I kind of stopped. Welcome in, Dawn.
okay.
And in 1895, The Time Machine by H.G. Wells.
And that's kind of like what started the popular, like, this is like a concept that we can work with in media.
And another reason why I kind of stopped that one, because one of the first movies that I put down as far as time travel movies was a 1960 movie called The Time Machine.
So it kind of goes right into it. It's the same title. And there was a remake of it in 2002, you said.
A real stinker, Amy?
Yeah, The Wrinkle in Time, the movie she's talking
Yeah.
about.
Yeah, The Wrinkle in Time. So, I'm not going to monopolize here. What are you thinking, Tina?
I'm just. So time travel is one of the things that perplexes me the most. So I'm just kind of taking
Soaking
everything
it
in
in?
right now. Yeah.
Okay. So now, I've watched the remake. I haven't actually got a chance to get, because
The
they
first
did a
one?
remake in 2002. It-
My birth year.
So the whole idea between the time machine is that he travels to the future where the descendants of Earth have now evolved in two different species, the Minox and I'm
What about Land Before Time?
not sure. I didn't.
Continue talking, I'll look it up. And see if it's
But there was time travel in Land Before Time.
That's what I'm looking up.
Well, the I don't think there was time travel. I think it was.
Let me look. No, I don't think there's time travel in that.
And
Excuse me.
that was a cool looking time machine too. I love that when Big Bang Theory, Leonard and Sheldon bought the original time machine in the movie. Yes, I like that episode too.
We used to enjoy Big Bang Theory. My chips!
So when I'm watching this, when I watched the time machine, this concept in this one was you couldn't alter what was going to happen.
Okay, we're gonna get to that.
What?
The Outlander series.
You couldn't alter, like, what I watched and what I remember this one was he had a fiance who dies.
Hi, Mike Wheeler.
So he always goes back in time to try. Are we discussing Outlander, Billy says? Not to give you.
What's Why have I heard of Outlander? Is that the one on Netflix or?
Yeah, it's amazing. Watch it.
Okay.
It's so good.
Yeah, I heard a lot of good
Yeah.
things about it.
And I'm going to get to the NBC series because that's in there. It's called Timeless. And
There's a
we'll talk
lot
about-
of different things. Like, he's going to get to them. He's starting off with some of the first things ever. We have a whole list. And, like, most of the movies you guys are mentioning are on the list.
Ooh, it's a book series?
Yes.
Yeah, it's, Tina, it's
Don't make me
so
read
good.
it. Do not make me read it, Tina.
Okay.
You gotta read it, Tina.
I'm if it gets added to the wheel of book names and it gets chosen, that's not my fault. I'm just saying.
Welcome in, Russ Stapleton. So he has a fiance who dies. So he's distraught. So he goes back in time when he develops the time machine to try to stop the death of his fiance.
Which one
But-
are we in?
This is the time machine.
The time machine. Okay. I'll
So
write this down.
it's just like when you talk about Doctor Who, and Doctor Who in the series says there's fixed points in time. You cannot change a fixed point in time.
Which also becomes a thing in Doctor Who.
That's what I just said.
Oh, I didn't hear you say Doctor Who. I didn't hear that. I was about to message Tina privately.
Oh. About Doctor
Nothing.
Who?
Nothing.
All right, so so he goes back and he tries to stop his fiancée from dying. And every chance that he has, no matter what he does, he cannot stop his fiancée from dying. So he kind of slips and he goes so forward into the future that, you know, the humans have evolved into two different species, ones that live above land and one that live below land. And the ones that live below land feed on the ones that live above land. So it's an interesting concept if you watch it. The remake's probably not as good as the original, like all of the other ones, but you know. And Billy says, "Can you change your stream to Let's Talk About Outlander?" Interesting.
I'm gonna start that series tonight, Billy.
Oh my gosh.
So
I
now,
just messaged you, Tina.
Okay.
So now, the next movie that I came up with that talked about time travel, but it wasn't real. You didn't know about it. It was time travel until you got to the end of the movie. Welcome in, Dreamer Deborah. Planet of the Apes. So,
see, I never watched Planet of the Apes, the original one. I only watched the ones later on. I remember watching those with you, but I've never watched the OG Planet of the Apes.
Well, and if you've watched some of the original Planet of the Apes, so you got astronauts that go into space or they get out there, they see something, and next thing you know, they fall back to Earth. When they come back to Earth, it is now it's years later, but they don't know it's Earth. They just think that they travel to another planet, right? So they land, and now this planet is evolved into apes.
Mm-hmm. I know the plot twist ending. That's about it.
At the plot twist ending was that Charlton Heston sees the Statue of Liberty, and he realized that humanity had killed off. Now, what's interesting, if you watched all of these movies, and some of them were good, some of them was
that's almost every series, though. There's always going to be bad ones.
In one of these movies, the two main apes from the first movie go back in time to 1970s Earth.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a child. And, you know, they were like special, and they were be treated like celebrities. They have a child. The child...
I should explain something to Tim. OG means original. So when you're saying like OG Planet of the Apes, that's the first Planet of the Apes movie. That's the original movie. I'm probably the only one that really says it a whole lot in the community because I'm 19 and say dumb things, but that's what I'm referencing when I say OG. That's original.
We're going to get to some of these other movies that are out there that are in the chat because they're on my list.
Mm-hmm.
So if you watch the Planet of the Apes series, the original Planet of the Apes series, they go back in time. They have a child who can speak. Because they were considered a threat. Blah 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 blah. Their child becomes Caesar, who actually is the leader of the ape resistance. Because the whole idea is all the cats and dogs. There was a virus, killed out all the cats and dogs. They used apes as pets. Then they realized how useful they were, so they trained them to be servants. And then Caesar leads the revolt, takes over, and then that's how it kind of comes up. So if you look at the original, like the Planet of the Apes movie with Mark Wahlberg, he's out in space.
That's the one that I'm thinking about.
Right, he's out in space. He actually travels through a nebula and then falls to a planet. And
is that the one
there's time travel involved with it because the nebula takes the apes or the ship that was there, and it puts them in time, and he comes at a different area, and it's just a weird. And then he goes back through the nebula. He gets to Earth, and it's now taken over by apes. it's a weird one. But I think the next movie, the one with James Franco in, is more along the lines of how like things kind of maneuver, you know. So the next one I have is in 1984, Terminator.
Terminator. I love Terminator.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
So now with the Terminator movie,
I love Terminator.
and the concept of the Terminator movie is that you can only travel back in time. There is no going
That's
back.
crazy to think about.
Well, if you're thinking about it, if for some way they've created a, if you create a machine to throw you back in time, you would need something there to send you back to your original time. So the problem comes down to is if time travel was ever to be invented, you would have to, and it involved a machine to take you from one space to the other. You would have time travel would only be available from when you created the original gate to the next gate. You see what I'm saying? So the gate in the future will always be there if it takes something mechanical to take you. And the whole idea behind.
Mom asked what I was eating.
What do we have to say? Our movies.
My chips.
Oh, she's dying. Okay. All right. Sorry, Sherry. We're going to get there.
Sure, you can put yours out there. I'll write them down and we can talk about them when we get to that point. I'll do that. Because right now we're kind of going over like the original like first few ones.
So put down Monarch Moments, Langoliers. I know that's one we're going to get to, and that's
I've
an
never
interesting
heard of
one.
that one before.
Which
That
makes
was sad because I love Stephen King.
That was a book. It was made into a miniseries for TV, and I'll get to
As
that if
most
we can.
Stephen King things do.
So then, Terminator. So they create a gap in space time, and they go back into the past. But there is no way.
Read Mom's comment.
Wait, time travel isn't real? Yeah. Billy wasn't here when I said my first quote.
The past and future do not exist and are only concepts used to describe the real, isolated, and changing present. Also, the way that I kind of look
12
at it,
Monkeys.
the way that I've kind of been looking at it, if you really think about it in the way of Terminator, if you're going back in time, you're going to something that's already happened and already existed. But with the future, you have no idea what you're going to get.
That is correct.
So it feels like it would be easier to travel back in time rather than forward in time. Because you have a better understanding of how to travel back rather than how to travel forward. I don't know. That's the way that I'm thinking about it. Sure, you're fine.
So Interstellar. Welcome in, Super Fluffy Yeti.
Interstellar is a movie that confuses me to no end. I've never
All right,
watched it.
We're going to get to Interstellar. See, the thing is with Terminator, it's also one of those movies that has a cause and effect. Right?
Yes.
If Reese never goes back in time, he never meets Sarah Connor. He never sleeps with Sarah Connor. They don't conceive John Connor, who is the leader of the resistance in the future.
Yeah. So if he had never traveled back,
it's a fixed point in time. So it's kind of like the old, how could I be, it's
two places at once.
Well, no, it's not two places at one. It's one event has to be done in order for this event to be created.
And that's why it's always confused me with the time travel thing.
It's a loop.
It's a paradox.
Right, it's a loop paradox. So then, of course, we have our Back to the Future 1, 2, and 3.
What do you think of Back to the Future, Tina?
Frequency is one of my favorites because James, a ham radio operator. I haven't seen that one. I think that's the one where he's like he talks back in time, like they're talking to each other, but it's over a time period, like they're not at the same time space.
So Tina, Back to the Future. I love Back to the Future. It confuses the heck out of me. The second, like it's just, it like I said, time travel boggles my mind, and it's the same with the third book of Harry Potter with all the time travel that goes on, and that it's like, okay, wait, like my brain has to try to rewire itself to, it's a mess. It's a mess. Like I said, I'm here for perspective.
All right, so
I've never liked that one thing about Back to the Future is that it's not fixed point in time. Really. Because it's not that, he went back and the future was still going to be what it was going to be because it had to happen to do that. In Back to the Future, he goes back and changes everything. So he basically does what Loki does and creates a parallel universe timeline.
Right, so
he's broken off 2 different timelines because he went back. Save Buckbeak!
So we're going to get to Quantum Leap, too. But The Lake House is near
is a tearjerker.
Oh, I love that movie. I saw that movie last year for the first time, and right in the middle of the stinking movie, a bee got in my house and stung me, and it ruined the movie for me.
Oh, no.
Because I was in pain for the rest of the movie. But it was a great movie. I loved it.
So,
that's what happened at Disney with the Rivers of Light show. I was in pain the whole time because I had hit my nail on something. And so the whole time I was thinking that my finger was going to fall off. So I couldn't enjoy the show.
I hate when that happens.
Okay. So Back to the Future. The machine runs on a certain timeline. And what happens is when he goes back to 1955, right?
Tina McNeil, what's up?
Hi, Tina.
Mouse Talk, hello.
What's up? So when they go back in time and he brings, it's the first book, he does the paradox. He creates a paradox by having his father stand up to Biff. So it takes him, so realistically, the way you would read my beginning opening, the past and the future do not exist. They're only concepts and describe the real and isolated changing events. So with him going back in time, because obviously he can, for some reason, you got the DeLorean. No matter what, that DeLorean's always going to go in that timeline. So while it is an offshoot, the only way to fix it would be go back
and put it back
change
to what it was supposed to be.
What was it supposed to be?
Does it, it's been a while since I've watched it. Does he go back and stop himself?
Well, no. See, the real one is Back to the Future 2, where Biff goes back in time, gives the sports book to a younger Biff, and Biff changes a lot. He never actually goes all the way back in time to change what happens to his father and mother. They still be rich and they're still whatever. Now, when you get to 3 and you get to the end of 3,
I've never watched the other 2. I've only ever watched the first one.
When you get to 3, Doc comes in and says time is irrelevant and he's doing whatever.
No. Oh, yeah. I did see. I saw the cowboy one.
Right.
My chips.
That's the second time she said my chips.
I keep dropping them.
So Back to the Future was released in 1985, 1989, and 1990. So that was 1, 2, and 3. Mm-hmm. And yes, okay, we're going to get to that one too. And
which one?
Groundhog Day.
Yep.
Cherie put in Time Traveler's Wife. Peggy Sue Got Married. The Kid, Forever Young, Somewhere in Time. Now, Peggy Sue Got Married is an interesting one. This was one of Nicolas Cage's first movies.
Nicolas Cage.
She goes to her high school reunion. She looks exactly like she was in her high school days. She falls down. She hits her head. She goes back in time, but she wakes up with the knowledge that she had, 10 years into the future, where she had been divorced from her husband. And it's just a weird. So the way they described it is time is a burrito. And at one point in time, it's going to loop around and it drops back. It drops back in.
See, those ones are weird to me. The ones where they travel back in time with no reason whatsoever. Like in Back to the Future, they had the DeLorean. That was a physical way of going back to the future. The girl just hitting her head and woke up in the past.
It's
weird to me.
So the whole idea.
It's time travel's not real. I have to remind myself that.
Well, no, the whole idea there is that it would have been a convergence of time and space at that point in time, and she would have went back in time, and blah, 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 blah. So, did we talk to the Back to the Future? That's the only one I know. Yes, Angela, we just kind of talked.
We just started talking about it. Yep, Hot Tub Time Machine is on the list.
How did OJ and wine? It's Joey's fault.
Oh. Did you read Walt's comment That's
No.
a really good comment. I'm actually really glad time travel isn't a real thing. Imagine if someone went back in time and we lost the Revolutionary War, lost World War One or World War Two.
Right.
Yeah.
There was a thing I read.
Oh.
No, there was a Twilight Zone episode that had to do with traveling back in time, and a guy who was was it a Twilight episode or was it a book I read? It was a thing where the guy traveled back in time and was trying to stop Lincoln from getting assassinated. Yes. He was trying to stop Lincoln from getting assassinated, and people wouldn't let him out of a room because he was talking about Lincoln getting assassinated, and they were like, "You're crazy," and he was like, "I'm trying to stop a murder."
That sounds familiar.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I would
The
look that up now.
time travel is we move our clocks ahead in daylight savings time. Yes.
It's real time travel. There's a book I bought you that has to do with time travel. Where's that?
I don't know. So we talked Back to the Future. Now in 1992, a movie comes out called Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Russ was referencing that earlier.
Right. So now with Bill and the Man in the High Castle deals with that. Yes, Axis powers win World War II. I kind of started watching that one. That was a kind of weird series. You have a question?
Kenzie. It was an episode of The Twilight Zone.
I knew it. We watched it in my English class.
Yep. I saw that one. I was like, that sounds familiar.
So in 1992, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure comes out. Now, when you're talking about the time travel with Bill and Ted, they have their phone booth that travels back in time. But what's interesting is that while they're traveling in time, they are still moving forward in time.
Yeah.
So when they're told to make sure that because their watch stops, so they meet their future selves at the same point in time, and Bill tells them, make sure your watch is wound because again, it's a fixed point in time. It's always going to happen in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. The watch is going to stop. And then this is also one where the father was looking for keys for days. It's come to find out that those Bill and Ted went back in time to steal the keys so they would have them in the future. So again, there's the paradox. It's a fixed point in time. They had to have done this thing in order to make it done. Make sense?
There's a lot happening. I need to watch that. That sounds cool. 1992? Cool.
And in 1993, we have Groundhog Day.
Which everyone's been referencing in the chat.
Yes. Now, Groundhog Day is not your typical...
That's Bill Murray, right?
You're right. It's not your typical...
Garfield?
It's not your typical time travel movie because he actually doesn't travel in time. He just repeats the same day over and over. They've done this in a couple of different... And he learns from each day because he keeps the knowledge from the day that he's lived. And time travel... DC's Legends of Tomorrow, Super Fluffy Yeti. I did start watching that series. It was pretty cool. I like the fact that they actually went back and met H.G. Wells as a kid, and the one professor saved his life, and that's where H.G. Wells got the whole time travel thing from. Doctor Who can change. Doctor Who says he can't change the fixed point in time. Exactly, Christine Hickman. Welcome in.
See, that's what confuses me. It's the fixed point in time. Isn't time travel you're going to fixed point in times? I mean, because it's there, right? I'm so confused. Oh my goodness.
So a fixed point in time is I think the way, and if I'm not mistaken, and I could be mistaken, with Doctor Who, a major event in time, something that's a major event, he cannot change.
So the whole point is that the doctor's like, this is a fixed point in time. If you do this thing, this will become a fixed point in time, and I myself will not be able to go back and change that because that's something that is going to be crucial to the humanity of the world that I cannot change. And that happens a few times.
Okay.
Rory and Amy being one of them.
Right. Makes
Ross,
sense.
I didn't put Star Trek: The Next Generation into my thing, and that's a whole weird time travel scenario when you're talking about Star Trek: The Next Generation, that whole 7 years, because of the way Q can travel through space time at infinite times.
Never watched Star Trek.
And Walt is right.
Yeah, there's no actual 100% meaning to anything because that's just how it is.
Just say I don't know how to look it up on the internet. The invention of the Oreo is a fixed point in time.
The what? The invention of the Oreo? Yeah.
So Walt said, Tina, this is why time travel isn't real. Don't worry about being confused. We all are. So I'm just kind of traveling to talking. Wait. What about Galaxy Quest? He goes back in time 13 seconds. Does that count? That technically it does count. Galaxy Quest, Tim Allen's. He goes back in time to change.
What's that one?
Did
I ever watch that one?
No. It's a science fiction one.
You said it was Tim Allen?
Yeah.
Tim Allen in a sci-fi movie?
Yeah, and Alan Rickman too. The guy who plays Snape.
I know who Alan Rickman is.
Okay, adding that to my list.
I don't know who Sigourney. I know the name.
Oh, yes.
I can't put a face to the name. Sigourney Weaver.
Aliens.
Oh, Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters.
Sigourney Weaver. Ghostbusters.
Okay, now I know.
Omega 3. So that's kind of Bill and Ted. So Groundhog's Day, it is a time travel movie because he always continues to live the same day over and over, and he learns from that day. They use the same concept in a bunch of different movies like this. There's a Tom Cruise one. I know, Billy. It's a Tom Cruise movie. It's called Edge of Tomorrow. Every time he dies, he goes back to the beginning of a certain day.
Yeah.
And he learns
so many shows
continuously.
There's so many movies that do that. There was that movie Happy Death Day that came out a few years ago.
They did the same thing where everything they would relive the day.
Susan, a great movie ride. Now I know.
Yep. So that was 1993. In 1994, we had Time Cop, a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie.
Ooh.
Now what's Yes, Emily Blunt is also in
so funny.
Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
So now with Time Cop, what was interesting about the time travel in Time Cop is that one of the rules in Time Cop was the same person cannot inhabit the same space. Your past self cannot touch your future self. Because if you do, you cancel each other out and you disappear. It's just a weird thing, and that's how he ends up beating the bad guy at the end. So they go back in time and they try to correct people who are altering with the timeline, almost like the Loki series. And I just can't believe I brought up the Loki series right now. I did.
Yeah, you did.
So that was the interesting. That's why I brought up the Time Cop scenario, was because there was that whole you can't be in the same space and time. Was that me or you?
Not me.
Oh. Then the next one is in 2001. We had a movie called Donnie Darko.
Oh yeah, Jake Gyllenhaal, right?
Jake Gyllenhaal, Donnie Darko. It's a weird and mysterious time travel movie because it's more or less like a loop in time with two different realities going on. Mm-hmm. So with Donnie Darko, a plane has a mishap and he misses the crash and he just goes into some weird, and he's seeing things from the other timeline, and he's meeting a rabbit. Like a scary rabbit.
What? I'm trying to do this.
So, Time Tracks and 7 Days were two time travel shows on the UPN network. Anyone remember the UPN? Yes, I do remember the UPN, and I do remember Time Tracks, and not 7 Days though. So that was the interesting about Donnie Darko. It's almost like a fixed point in time because once he comes back to the wormhole, he actually does die. What about 12 Dates of Christmas? I came across that movie. I had never seen that movie, Walt, so I don't know for sure. So in 2007 is the next movie I'm going to talk about. You want to say this one?
What? Which one? 2007, Meet the Robinsons.
Is a time travel movie.
It is a time travel movie. It is very good. I really enjoy that. I haven't watched it in forever, but it is so good. Mouse Talk, we did mention the Terminator much earlier. Yeah. Meet the Robinsons. It's awesome because if you haven't watched Meet the Robinsons at this point, I don't really care about spoiling it.
Doesn't Lost deal with time travel? Yes, Lost does deal with time travel.
Which is so weird to me because I thought that show was about a plane crash. When did supernatural and time travel things start happening?
Yeah.
It's a weird show. I kind of lost interest.
I don't know.
Your mom watched it to the
worst
end.
ending ever. Yeah.
But in Meet the Robinsons, we find out that the main blonde kid is actually the father of the kid who's bringing him back and bringing him to the future. And we find out that the girl from the past that the blonde kid has an interest in ends up being his wife and the mother of this kid who's bringing him to the future, which is really cool.
Which probably means that's probably another fixed point in time when you think about it. If the kid never went back to grab his father, then bring him to...
He never would have known.
He would have never known he was going to end up marrying this girl who he had an interest in.
Yeah, maybe he would have given up. Who knows?
Maybe he would have given up.
It's a really good movie.
So that's kind of where that whole fixed point in time, it has to happen for something else to happen. What did Amy
said
say?
Quantum Leap.
We're going to get there too. So the next one that I have on my list is 2004, The Butterfly Effect. The Butterfly Effect.
Is that time travel?
It is time travel.
I know what the butterfly effect is. I don't know.
There's a movie called The Butterfly.
I know what the butterfly effect theory is because it's used in like so many different things.
Is that the Ashton Kutcher one?
Yes. But what he does is he actually reads his diary or something to the effect, and he goes back into the time that he had wrote that sentence or something, and he changes what happens. And when he goes back to the present, the things have changed. And it's so weird because the way this movie goes is somehow he goes all the way back to when he's in the... So it's not when he wrote it. He just reads something, he goes back into the womb, he chokes himself, and he's never born.
It's so weird. Also, okay, so the butterfly effect theory is that every decision you make could lead to something much bigger. So the reason it's a butterfly effect is the flap of a butterfly's wing could equal in a hurricane.
So
it's really interesting.
That sounds like the movie Click from Adam Sandler. I did see that one too, and I didn't include him. Chat. If you happen to remember this movie, I can't remember the name of it for the life of me.
What is it?
There was a movie like this where they took people back in time on a tourist trip. But you had to stay. Are you all right?
Yeah, I just whacked my hand on the desk.
Oh no.
So they took
about?
tourists back in time. Almost like the dinosaur ride. You're a tourist, you're going back in time, and they're going, and you're not supposed to take the dinosaur out.
Yeah.
But you're supposed to stay on this road. And one of the trips back in time for a tourist, they go back to the prehistoric age. One guy actually steps off of the road
because he's
steps on a butterfly or something to that effect.
And changes the entire end of the world.
When they go back to the present, they're getting hit in waves with reality changes. So the butterfly effect comes that way. It's
affecting them.
So when they get back to the present, everything that, like, they're there, and every time this ripple comes through, something changes. So they're actually feeling the rippling of the time of what's happened.
It's the wave, yes. Correct. Super Fluffy Daddy says, I remember the movie. What was the name of the movie? I don't remember it.
Right. What about the movie with Christopher Reeve? I'm not sure, Tina, if you could put that in.
Christopher Reeves? I know Keanu Reeves.
Somewhere in. You don't know who Christopher Reeve is?
I'm looking it up. Oh, now I know who Christopher Reeves is. Okay.
Superman?
You could have just said that. I know who
Hey.
Superman is.
Okay, I'm gonna get to that show, and I for the life of me, I remember watching it when I was a kid. And I'll tell you the year that came about. So that's the whole butterfly effect with Ashton Kutcher.
Kutcher.
So the next movie is 2009, the reboot of Star Trek with the original
Yeah, I've never watched Star Trek.
where Spock goes back in time and he changes the past, and then you get the whole reboot of the Star Trek series.
Somewhere in Time, a Keanu Reeves time travel movie.
Not Keanu Reeves.
Not Keanu. Christopher Reeves.
Christopher.
I meant to say Christopher, and then someone said Keanu. I don't know.
Dude,
But
where's
it's
my
called
car guy?
Somewhere in
No.
Time.
So that's the Star Trek one. Then you have 2010. You have
Garrett.
What?
Hot Tub Time Machine.
Ugh.
Okay, that just doesn't sound right at all.
It's not right when you watch it either, but
Okay.
the whole idea is that they go back to this ski lodge that in the 2010s or whatever.
Sebastian Stan is in Hot Tub Time Machine. Bucky Barnes.
So Hot Tub Time Machine.
And then,
I'd like to know what you
two
think the
guys
best
from
time
The
travel
Office.
TV show and movie is. I'm going to get to that. I'm going to... So they have this energy drink that was made from Chernobyl type... Chernobyl. That's the name of it. It fries the
Why did I
hot tub
think-
circuits, and they travel back in time. So like it's a really hecko of a hotel that they're at. They travel back into the 80s, and they inhabit their younger bodies.
Has Daryl from The
Zip slip.
Office.
Yes. And then
I
the
don't
thing
know why.
there is,
I thought Zach Galifianakis was in that movie.
so the big thing about the time travel in that one is when they finally fix the time machine or the hot tub to go back to the future, the one guy stays in the past. And when they get back to the future or back to their present time, everything has changed because he used the knowledge of the 2000s to
Change everything.
change everything to where he's a multimillionaire. He, instead of Google, it's Lugal. So it's interesting.
I don't know why I thought Zach Galifianakis was in that
That's
movie.
it's not. So the next one is Looper. That is a Bruce Willis and the kid from 30 Rock.
Oh, Jumanji.
Jumanji's another time.
Did you not mention Jumanji?
I didn't mention Jumanji. But then again, Jumanji's not a time travel movie. It's almost... So, Jumanji's about a time travel as the same as...
Oh, he's more of like a...
As the Rip Van Winkle. He spends 20 years in the board
He's
game
not-
like Rip Van Winkle spends 20 years in the mountains.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
So... Looper, the mob in the future sends people in the back to be shot by people in the past. That's how they get rid of the bodies. They just send them to the past and they shoot them.
That sounds like a horrible movie.
Right. It's a weird movie. It's
Is
Bruce
it
Willis.
good? Like, is it like a good...
It's not bad.
plot?
It's
2012?
Yeah.
Probably not.
It's-
Interstellar. Let's just move to that one. I never watched that
There's
one.
a time travel movie when he finishes the game and he goes back and says, "Oh, that's right, that's true." The same thing with Jumanji, the next one.
Yes.
They go back to where they.
Yes.
Yes.
They
Whoa.
do
Thank
that.
you for clarification. I
Thank
wasn't even
you.
thinking. So the next one is Interstellar. Now, Interstellar is a weird time travel movie because of the way it's set up.
It's about space. And about the fact that space, time doesn't move the same way it does on Earth. So the amount of years he's out doing that, like an hour is like a year on Earth.
Well, they find a wormhole or a singularity, and they travel through the singularity to find an habitable world. Correct? So that, or not correct. So that's what's going on. So the first world that they come to, because it's closest to the singularity, time moves faster.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
So
an hour there is like a couple years.
A year or two on.
So while he spends 4 hours there, his daughter, who he told that he would get back to,
is like aging
rapidly. And she thinks that he's totally abandoned her because she hasn't heard from him. But realistically, he was on this planet for
like an hour
and a half.
And then there's the whole thing about
I didn't mention the kid. I'm sorry.
When he's like doing things in the library and he's like moving books. Like, I don't know anything about that. I never watched the movie completely. Matt's sister told me about it. Val told me about it, and she was explaining it, and I was like, I don't understand.
So the whole idea for the time travel there is once he enters the singularity, he figures out the people who sent the singularity, because it's a stable object, is the future human beings to save themselves in the past. They send the singularity in the past. Matthew McConaughey's character enters the singularity. He goes back in time and gives his daughter the code on how to get where to go to and all that other stuff. So it's interesting when you talk about that.
And then, yes, we have another 10 minutes, so we're going to go through these. Don't even talk about Avengers. X-Men, Days of Future Past.
Well, the X-Men Days of Future Past is a weird time travel movie because there's now actual physical time travel going on.
No, they just kind of go.
They take his essence or his brain and travel that back in time.
Yeah, which is interesting.
Well, actually, there is some time travel. No. Yeah, actually, no, because even when...
I never realized that was a time travel movie.
Every time that she sends somebody back to their former mind, they change with the location. So that's the time travel there. So they're not actually physically traveling in time. They're sending somebody's consciousness back in time. Time Traveler's Wife, Age of...
Adeline. Age of Adeline I've heard about. That's an interesting one.
Inception. Yes, Inception was... I don't know.
I never watched Inception. So, TV shows.
What do you mean? I got one more movie here.
Don't talk about it a lot.
All right. Age of Ultron. We seen it.
Age of Ultron?
I'm not sorry.
Oh my god.
Endgame.
The right movie.
Tina, no yawning. I'm sorry if I'm keeping you awake, Tina.
I'm not yawning. I'm laughing.
Okay.
I'm bored of you. Tina doesn't want to hear it anymore.
I was laughing.
Okay.
Why am I here?
Actually, Super Fluffy Yeti. I know that Diz Our Dream went earlier with Disney.
They've been streaming for a while.
But the only problem is I actually have to teach tonight, and I have to get dinner. So that's why I'm sticking to 5 o'clock.
So we're going to finish up as soon as we can.
All right, so we're going to move on to the TV shows from 1963 to 1989, and then from 2006 is Doctor Who. And we've already kind of talked about Doctor Who, and
we've very much talked about Doctor Who. And I enjoy talking about Doctor Who because the way that they deal with time travel is cool. Except the whole Rory and Amy plot with 11. I thought that was so boring, and I did not like that plot thing.
How's this? How about we are 5 minutes out, we stop here, and we do a part 2 on time travel, the TV shows.
Yes, let's do that.
What do you think, Tina? You interested?
We can talk about Doctor Who.
That could take a long time.
Yeah. I'm game for anything.
We will be reliving the last 5 minutes of Tracy's show. Sorry. Yeah. So, Tina, thank you for being here. Chat, thank you for being here. If I missed you in the chat, please just
say hey again. I don't think we missed anybody though.
Mike Wheeler, gobble gobble. What's up, buddy?
Travel movies, Robin Williams.
And then maybe a part. Who knows? Yeah. We'll do a part 2, and if we need a part 3, we'll do a part 3.
We're not going to need a part 3.
How do you know we're not going to need a part 3?
Because it's just the TV shows now.
How's this?
So we get to talk about Outlander for a longer period of time than just 5 minutes.
If you want
to do TV shows and then do episodes from TV shows.
Yeah, we could do that because
there could always be
some shows have nothing to do with that. Yeah.
How's this? In the comment section, comment your best
Your favorite.
and favorite time travel movie, and then TV show,
And
and
then
we'll do some
maybe an
research and we'll
episode.
talk about it.
We would love that. That would
All
be
right.
great.
So Tina, what do you got coming up?
What do I have coming up tonight? What is today? Oh my goodness. 10:30. Throwback Thursday with Gonzo and Chris and Arlene, and on Gonzo's channel. And that Saturday night with Chris Dad Builds at 9:30. And right now, I think that's it for now. Next Monday, book club.
You doing T2?
T2, 6 o'clock. Oh my goodness, thank you. T squared, 6 o'clock on my channel with Tina McNeil and friends. And see, it messes me up because every other week my brain forgets. But yeah, so and then Monday book club at 3, and then next week Wednesday whateverness at 5. We're gonna go Diz-teeking, which is antiquing, looking for Disney treasures. So I'm excited because I got my new phone that I can actually stream on.
Sweet.
Nice.
And so Ken's,
Sunday Nerd Talk.
are you going to host No Talk or am I hosting No Talk?
I don't know. We'll
figure it out.
And then Monday, 4:30 to 5:30. Yes, 4:30 to 5:30 on Monday. 2 more Mondays
And we're in Florida.
until we go to Disney. So the next 2 Mondays are going to be Disney prep streams talking about last minute, what are we going to do? What are we going to get done? Hopefully Matt will be able to join me. I can't wait to finalize my plans in my lovely journal here, my Disney planning journal. So excited to go down to Florida. It'll be the first time we've been there in over a year. We haven't been since January last year.
You haven't.
I haven't been since January last year, and Mom hasn't been since November of 2019. So Mom and I are very excited to go. We're going to leave him home. He's going to stay here. More room in the car for other things.
Then Mom would have to drive back all by herself.
Should be fun.
All right. So I want.
But yes, make sure to check out those Monday streams because we are going to be.
Russ said Florida's overrated. All right, guys. I want to thank you for joining me in the chat. I have 25 lovely people still here. I love that fact that you came for time travel talk.
Time travel.
Yes. And Tina, thank you for being here. As always, I love having you here, basically to pretty much keep me in track, even though you laugh at my stupidity, because she won't.
I just make fun of you, and then I make myself laugh, and then we both laugh like idiots.
Garrett says, come to California. Why, Garrett? Non-Californians can't go to Disneyland. So join us next week for part 2.
Yep.
So tonight, I think Corey's live, and if you haven't been checking out Corey, go check out Corey.
Mm-hmm.
And then
there's so much going on.
Right,
There's
and our friend Chris Dad Builds will be on 9:30. If I don't get Carlos, I should be there. So guys, thank you for giving me your Thursday, and thank you guys.